Okay, drain down time 2022, time to lift that first board. There we go, it's a runner. Now the water's flowing, I've got to jump down the peschery with a rake and get all the leaves out, otherwise we won't get the water safely down the stream. So this year we're doing a partial drain down. Now this means that the fish are actually going to stay resident within the lake, but we're going to reduce the level until there's about a metre of water left, and that concentrates the fish so that they're easier to net. Now we do this to basically manage the stocking levels, because if we have too many small fish then there won't be enough room for the larger fish to grow. If we didn't do a partial drain down and netting every few years, then the small fish would basically eat all the food that we want the larger fish to enjoy. There's basically just not enough food to go around. Drain downs have to be done very slowly so it doesn't mess up the surrounding environment. So one of the things I'm looking to do when I'm actually doing a drain down is maintaining some kind of water exchange. This is important for the health of the lake and the fish. So I'm going to pop over the road, have a look at what the level is and see if we're starting to get that water exchange that we need. So we're very lucky at Beausoleil because the lake above us actually feeds down into us during the winter. Basically we take their overflow. We had a lot of rain last night and I know the level's been coming up, and I'm really hoping that we're just starting to see a little bit of water exchange. So it's really good news, it's just started to flow. So the inflow stream is behind me here and we're just starting to see a little bit of water coming over the weir. So a successful drain down is all about managing how much water is coming in versus how much water is going out. So this is day 3 of the drain down and we've lost about 40 centimetres already. There's not another board to lift today. I'm just going to take out a couple of the front boards because they're no longer necessary. Those front boards are actually there for a purpose because they force the water to go under them and then up over the weir. This means that the overflow is always sucking from the bottom, which helps us keep the lake cleaner. So while we're doing the drain down, it's an excellent time of year to get on with those winter jobs, which is trimming the margins. We do as much of this as we can with the brush cutter, but at the end of the day there's no substitute for a pair of loppers and a pair of shears. So estate lakes might be beautiful places to come and fish, but there's a price to pay, and that's in leaf fall. So every year you'll find me in the margins digging out the leaf fall just to keep the lake as clean as possible. While I've been digging out this margin, I always find little surprises, and today I found some mussel shells. So mussels do a fantastic job of actually filtering the water. So here we go. Beautiful shells these. Absolutely gorgeous things. But unfortunately Mr. Muskrat got his fill. So the next job on my list is I've got to remove the fizzers from the shallow end of the lake. Now we've had a diffused air system in place since 2015 and that does a great job of turning over our water 24/7, 365 days of the year. But during a drain down the fizzers run out of water and I've got to isolate them, pull them out on the bank because they basically won't be doing anything and just wasting electricity. So the level's dropped low enough now that I can take another board out. At the same time I'm going to take out a couple of front boards. At this point we'll be about 60 centimetres down in total. This is a great opportunity to inspect the condition of the board just to make sure that there's no wear or holes that need to be replaced. This board is in fine condition. There's a bit of degradation on the surface but it's really nothing. It's in very good condition indeed. So I've just walked into a feeding hole here, and this hole definitely wasn't here last time. There were some other holes around this area, but this hole was not here. Now what's interesting is that in the last week of the season we had a visit from one of our regulars, and he said that he was having quite a few off a spot which is just in front of this rock here, about half a rod length out. So I've wandered along to this spot, and what have I found? Well, there's a 2 metre diameter feeding hole, right on the money basically. And just here I found an old log, and I can feel it, I can touch it. It's not stone. I lift it up. Yeah, no, it's definitely a log, and I can feel there that the carp have excavated along that, and then they've created this huge great feeding area here, so there's been something really delicious that they wanted to eat. And yeah, I mean, he was just driving out rigs with his bait boat, dropping them right on the money. He didn't actually know that this was here, but the fish were crashing over this spot, so they were visually giving themselves away. So, but this is the result of carp feeding activity, and yeah, if you can find a hole like this, it's going to be a really productive place to fish. That's absolutely bang hard there. That's really the kind of lowest depression there. But if I go just, you know, a metre away, we got 6 inches of muck there. It's really horrible. Put my boot in that. Yeah, it's a big old load of muck. Location, really. You know, if you're just a metre off, you're going to be right on the edge of this this hole. So even driving this out with a bait boat is very difficult to get it spot on, to be honest, unless you're driving it into your feet, which is something I do a lot. So there we go, that's the logs, that's the fallen branch. I can have that out actually. So good fishery management is all about good silt management. And here at Beausoleil we have an inlet stream. Now, if we just let the winter overflow from the neighbouring lake just cascade into our lake all year round, it would mean that there'd be a lot of silt that is washed over, especially during the winter rains. So what we've done is we've installed 2 weirs, and these force the water up over them. Basically what it achieves is a double silt trap effect, so that silt builds up behind the weirs and then is filtered and then flows over to another pool and is filtered again before it finally enters into our lake. This is a really effective system, and it helps keep the lake cleaner all year round. Over time, the silt level behind each of the weir rises, and if we didn't remove that silt every couple of years, it would mean that the silt could get washed over during the rains. So a big day tomorrow, because we're going to have a digger come on site, and this machine is going to excavate that silt, this silt that's been building up over the last few years, and that silt's going to be removed, deposited along the margin, and then scraped flat. We can't get everything out with the machine, of course, so the bits that the digger can't reach, I'll just be hopping in the margin and digging those out by hand. So the dig out the stream has gone really well this morning, so well in fact that I've got Peter in the lake digging out the other bits that he can access. So really important work to get this done, but while we're in the drain down. So we're making the most of the machine and the man's time. He's really confident with that machine. I must say I've had a few kind of twitchy moments watching him go in the soft stuff. So this is a bit of a surprise. I don't think this rock should be here. I think it's fallen. I'd have to go back and check the footage, but I'm pretty sure that it was actually tucked up underneath the island here. It's moved, maybe a big catfish has moved it, or just kind of erosion over time, probably a bit of both really, but I'm sure that this rock has fallen from there where it was down to this position here. Lakes evolve, lakes change, and they're changing all the time. Every couple of years I find things that simply weren't here last time I checked. So drain downs are a fantastic opportunity for me to get rubbish like this out of the lake. I hate to see stuff like this because Ronnie rigs are banned at the venue, and I really don't encourage the use of lead clips either. But it's a reality of fishery ownership, and every lake will contain rubbish like this that should be extracted if at all possible. So I hate to see this tail rubber has been pushed on really hard, and if I just try and remove this lead, I have to pull quite hard. Oh, and he does come off. I've seen a lot worse than this. One of my favourite tools for finding lost rigs and stuff is actually just a simple garden rake, because I can rake that across the silt. The rake catches on the main line, I then follow the main line back, and then I can find any broken off rig components, etc. So I'm just having a mooch around the bridge here, and I saw this piece of rig tube sticking up out the thing. Nothing attached to it, so it's all safe. Just another bit of debris to get out of the lake, really. So I'm very surprised to see this. This is a pike trace and a lure connected to some braided main line. Yeah, a bit concerning to see, because that's not the sort of fishing that we do here, but anyway, happy to have found it and got it out of the water. So I'm really happy with that actually. A couple of years ago I found loads of rigs around this bridge, but I've only found 3 today. So we have been very strict with the insistence on £20 Nash bullet as main line or £25 big game, and I think this has helped. I'm also very rigorous nowadays on the rig checks, and I've got loads of guys now coming here and doing the tuition where we can get all of this sort of thing sorted on the bank, so that you know, fish aren't lost and gear isn't lost as well. So very rare nowadays to see guys using lead clips here. I really discourage that after what I saw a couple of years ago. Basic running inline lead is super effective, super safe. So it's only 6 days to go before the netting, and we've still got a fair amount of water to remove. So I'm going to pull another board out today, and then we'll have another one out in a couple of days, and then possibly one more right before the netting. So while I've been doing my tour looking for rigs and stuff, I've noticed that one of the stanchions on the bridge is looking quite badly worn. While the level's down, it's really important that we take care of this, otherwise there's the risk of this stanchion actually failing, and we're not going to be able to see this part of the bridge for another 2 years. So what I want to do now is just cut off the end of those threaded bars, because I really don't want the carp bumping into those as they go about their daily business and stuff, because those threaded bars are really sharp and it will really damage them. So as you can see, we've dropped a lot of level now. There's just 30 centimetres more to go before we're ready to net the place. As we drop the level, I always walk around the shallows and I'm looking for any mussels that have got stranded, that are not either deeply submerged in the soft silt or in the water, because I don't want those mussels to dry out and die, because they're very good for the health of the water. So I'm going to wander around the shallows now, and I'm going to gather up any mussels that I find, and I'm going to plop them into deeper pools or places I know that are going to stay nice and wet while the level is low. In a week or so, the level is going to be coming back up into these shallows to cover them up, so they're all going to be fine. Look at those animal prints. Now, I'm not sure, that could be a rat, could be a muskrat, but clear sign of paw and claw prints there. So obviously after these two mussels, maybe they're a bit big for him, but anyway, we'll rescue them. He's just sealing up there. Yeah, put you in a safe place, mate, eh? So we've got a mussel here that's been carving his track, goes round in an S-bend like this, and the water's going to drop lower than this, so I need to move this one as well. The colours on that, absolutely stunning. That's mad, isn't it? It's like a racetrack. We've had racing mussels. So that's it, I've filled my bucket and I've got a nice big pool of water here that's going to stay filled up during the netting. There we are. Big pile of mussels. Good luck, chaps. I don't know exactly what this is, but it is. I think someone's used that as a prodding pole from the boat and basically dropped it. So yeah, look at that, it's an old Nashy camlock bank stick. It still works. That's mad. Looks like the Nash one, I'm not sure. Could be another make, but anyway, it survived and still kind of works. Yeah. Now, something else. So I don't find many spods and spoms around the place, but I have just found this one, and it's good to get him out the water. You know, whenever we go fishing, unfortunately, you know, stuff does get lost. So what we fish with, you know, you've got to think about what happens when the worst does happen and we do lose it, because it does stay in the environment. It's also really important, if you are using spods and spoms, that you set them up properly, that you use a proper braided leader, to take the shock of the cast, and that you change those leaders and the spod line on a regular basis. It's just 24 hours to go now before we're going to be netting the place. The level is 10 centimetres down from where I want it, and I can just see the first signs of fish movement at that level. Some tail patterns and some ripples and a little bit of a few bow waves and stuff. So I think we're just about spot on for level. To minimise the stress on the fish, it's really important that we have a nice cold day for the netting, and ideally a kind of cold run up to the netting as well. Air temperature this morning was about 2 degrees. There's a little bit of breeze and there's a real nip in the air. It's really kind of fresh. No frost this morning, might even have a few flakes of snow for the netting tomorrow. The water temperature is going to be sub 10 degrees for sure, which is absolutely where we need it to be. So the level is so low now that we can really see very clearly the massive cat holes that are exposed in this area. These holes are 2-3 meters diameter, and they're 50, even 80 centimeters deep, and they've been carved out of the silt by the big cats swimming in circles and literally excavating themselves a nest. It's a really incredible feature. They're quite difficult to find because you can pull a lead across them and you really won't feel much because it's very, very loopy down here. But the best way to find them is actually to go out in the rowing boat and very, very lightly tap with a prodding pole. If you're looking for a hole like this casting from the bank, then I would use a very light lead and literally just kind of cast and cast and cast, and if you go kind of soft, 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 and then you get a firm thud, you might have landed in a hole, and that's a great place to drop a rig. Well, it's netting day this morning and it's even snowing. Never done a netting in the snow, but the weather gives us what it gives us. The boys are getting prepped now. I'm on the sidelines today because I'm injured, but fortunately we've got a great team of people here that are going to do all the hard graft for us.
I like dogs are getting interested. Yeah, about that. It's not as bad in the middle. If I remember last time, it's quite bad in the middle, but
It's cleaned up in the middle. So it looks like the netting's gone pretty well. Net's now in, and we can certainly see plenty of fish action. It looks like we've got a very successful sweep. Not much sign of fish activity the other side of the net, which is always a good sign. So net's going to be staked into position now, and then we're going to set up some cages and we'll start sorting through these fish. So we know the net actually went over a big hole, and all the big catfish actually kind of ducked under the net, so we missed them this time, but not to worry. The main objective was to get all the smaller fish out, the silvers and stuff that we don't need. In the average carp sizes really come on leaps and bounds. Some of the small carp that were born in here in 2015, they're now upper doubles. Some are pushing 27, 28 pounds, which is really fantastic growth. We saw plenty of 30s, plenty of 40s as well, and certainly a couple of the big highlight fish were definitely in that netting, so yeah, great to see. So the zander population has come on really strong, which I'm really pleased with, because they were only introduced at 20 centimetres long, and now they're up to 40-50 centimetres long, which is really great. This is all about balancing the biomass, and we're going to be able to free up that biomass so that the carp, which is what we want to grow, can get even bigger. So the netting's all done and it's time to let the water back in. I want to be really careful how I let the water in, because I don't want any washover from the lake above. So it's all about just getting a nice steady flow that's really clean and really pure. We've got some lovely crystal clear water that's going to flow into the lake and fill us up over a number of weeks. At the bottom of the weir here I've got some limestone chippings, and this just helps to add a little bit of calcium very slowly and steadily into the water. This is just a way of improving water quality over a long period of time as it washes into the lake. So we've got a golden opportunity while we're refilling, just for a couple of days, to get the digger back again to Basically get in there and dig out some of these shallows, really clean them up, get out some of the muck, because it's going to do wonders for the water quality and really improve the health of the fishery. So it's all about just moving it forward year by year, as we've been doing so for the last 12 years. So you can see what Peter's doing here. He's literally scraping off the top layer of muck and exposing these wonderfully different coloured clays, and carp absolutely love this fresh scraped clay, so they're going to be down here and having an absolute ball. So we're back underneath the Island Point fir tree here, and this is a classic spot. The carp spend an awful lot of time under here, and we visited this spot a couple of years ago and we did some filming under here, and we removed the snag that was exposed, and there was nothing else. We took all of the exposed roots out to make it nice and clean, and we've come back to this spot, and what have we got? They've dug out 2 more roots to the tune of another 10 centimeters down or something. Yeah, absolutely mad, and it's over a large area as well. This spot is 1.5 meters wide by meter across. It's absolutely been scoured to within an inch of its life. So yeah, mental, but that's what carp do, you know, they just eat the bottom. So I've come to a spot that we filmed a couple of years ago, and this is just positioned midway along the aerator bar, and last time we were on the aerator bar filming, it was covered in feeding holes and they'd picked it really clean, and this year it's all looking a bit dirty actually. There is a clean area of feeding, but it's certainly not in the middle of the bar, it's further along. So it just goes to show you how carp habits change and move and evolve, and just because you're fishing a spot that you did well on the year before, you go back to it the next year and expect to have the same kind of results. Don't be surprised if that doesn't happen, because the carp have changed habits, they've moved, and the game has changed.